right, sure. What are you drinking?
Yeah.
Bayou. No,
Yeah.
it's Bayou. Paul Skeet, Stevie Kwan.
Oh.
Hey.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Talkin Baseball Today. This is our, Megazord, sick Power Rangers reference.
Megatron.
As we bring together the Baseball Today boys, Chris Rose and Trevor Plouffe. Oh, my God.
Wow.
I mean, thought there'd be a bigger pop from the crowd, if
It's okay.
I'm being honest.
Well, you know what? We should try it again, though. Let's try.
No, they
Let's
moved.
hear it for Trevor Plouffe, everybody. Yeah.
don't do
Trevor
that.
Plouffe. There
Don't
he is.
do that.
He's so handsome.
That's not
Gosh,
good.
I have a
Even
great
better
tan
looking
right
in
now.
person.
If you want to hear a real applause, can everyone give it up for my good friend Jimmy O'Brien,
Yeah.
Jomboy. And hey, thank you guys for coming through. This has become this is year 4 of doing All-Star Weekend. We usually go to the Derby, and then during the game, we do a hangout and a live show.
And Jake.
Yeah, Jake.
Oh, check it out your eye.
I actually forgot Jake was here, so I'm glad you reminded
Yeah,
me.
I mean, people were like, "Who's this guy?"
Okay.
Being all serious.
That actually happened the first time I ever met you guys. I was like, who is that guy?
That's
What's he doing here? Is that your driver? Like, what's happening? Turns out it was Jake.
That's my whole brand. What is he doing here? Thank you guys so much. Like I was starting to say, this has become our favorite weekend of the year. It's Tuesday. It feels like Saturday. Just kind of crazy that baseball does that. Chris Rose actually straightened us all out on that. He was like, baseball games sell tickets on the weekend, so that's why they do the All-Star game during the week. And
I did the math. 700 million every weekend.
Okay.
700 million?
Yeah, the average game, 15 games every Friday, Saturday, Sunday. If they take a weekend off, they lose $700 million.
We'll circle back on that.
What math did you do?
We'll circle back on all of that.
It's never been a math.
Average ticket price times average attendance times 15 times 3.
You did the math, apparently.
All right?
Boom. Boom. Take that.
I don't know if it was 700 million. Though. It was some big.
Take that.
The truth comes out.
Take that, Stanford. We are going to talk some ball for a little bit. We got a couple topics and things we're going to cover. Then we're going to bring up like our whole crew. We've got some other people floating around that you guys can ask anything. Baseball, Jomboy Media, I guess anything. If you really want to get something off your chest, we can talk about it. But for now, let's talk a little ball. And, hey, one more big round of applause. We get to do, well, actually, there's going to be multiple because, I don't know, we got a lot of people helping and stuff. But one of the biggest things that allows us to do this and has been our biggest partner through this weekend is SeatGeek. So give it up for SeatGeek. You guys know them. I think, what is it, All-Star 10? All-Star 10. Hey, BBD, ladies and gentlemen. Come on. Come on. The king in the north. Stop yelling into the mic. I want to start off, it's All-Star Weekend before we dive into some teams. And actually, my guy Jimmy, I think, has stumbled into something, as he always does. That we were at the Home Run Derby last night, and it was a good time. It's a fun event. Like, the whole crowd, everyone's rooting for the same thing. It's a good time. Everyone walked away last night and was just a little, It could have had a little more, And I think, a shout out to our guy, Zach Esposito. A lot of you guys probably know Zach. Give it up for Zach.
Zach.
All right, there. One of the best editors in the world I know, a sweet friend. And Zach kind of winked at me last night, and he goes, "No, it would have been good in the Home Run Derby? Aaron Judge." And I was like, that's a pretty good point, Zach. Like, it would have been cool to see that big guy out there. Shohei Ohtani. So, yeah. Jim, you've come up with some rules for the Derby?
Yeah, I changed the system. It's the CBA, so they should tap into me whenever that happens, because I think what they should do is if you led the league in home runs the year before, or if you're currently leading the league in home runs up until the break, you're eligible for MLB to pick you, but there are some outs. If you've done it in the last 2 years, you can be like, nope, don't want to do it again. If you've had an IL stint in maybe like 60 days leading up to the break, you can say no. And then I asked Trev to help with more because the players are going to want more reasons to say no. But I made the whole list on Jimmy's 3 things. And Shohei and Judge would have been eligible because they haven't done it in a while, in the last 2 years. And then Gunnar would have been there for like a young kid. And Bobby Witt would have been – no, he wouldn't have been eligible. But it was cool because then what you do is you imagine for Bobby Witt yesterday and for Gunnar if they were before or after Judge. Now you're actually having all of Japan tune in, and then they find Gunnar Henderson, and he probably gets 1 million new followers.
Okay, I like it.
You just need the premier guys that are going to get the casual fans and like my mom and sister. Oh, Judge is doing it? I watch. And then they learn about the others. But when you kind of have all new people to promote, there's no main act. It's just a ton of opening acts.
That's what I think. So I like your idea, and it is a great event. And sometimes it's you say, well, we should just leave it alone. It's one of the best events that any major sporting league does for like their all-star stuff. So some people say just leave it alone, it's good as it is, but I think you can improve it. And I always say, like, as a player, I had crazy different views. I would have said no to all of your stuff, right? Yeah. But as I'm on the outside looking in, as a fan now, I'm like, okay, what can we do to spice things up? And like what we do for the warehouse. I don't know if you guys watch any of the JM Warehouse stuff. Like, that's all real competition, but there's like stuff we have fun with. We create storylines, stuff like that. That's what needs to happen, I think, in the Home Run Derby. I mentioned it on Baseball Today, about doing, Latin America versus Asia versus the U.S. There has to be some storyline baked in to draw people in. You can create drama and then still have real competition. I think that's what was lacking last night. Was like it had to come down to Bobby Witt barely missing that last home run. That was the drama. If someone had run away with it last night, and say Bobby Witt had a horrible last round, there's nothing at the end of that. So I think you have to somehow create the drama and then have the added, competition aspect to it.
I think you guys are on the right track with the competition. I suggested this on today's episode of Baseball Today to make it a tag team effort. And for this way, the players aren't going to get as tired because it is exhausting. This guy can tell you batting practice where you're swinging for the fences every time. No, not you.
That has to be the most amount of swings any of those guys have taken in that short of amount of period, right? Full swings.
And there's added adrenaline that's coursing through your body. And then, if you watch the guys, if they don't hit a homer within the first 3 pitches, then the stress factor starts taking over. Then they start swinging harder.
Right.
It all compounds itself. But those 200 swings they took last night, whatever it was, they're going to wake up today feeling it.
So how do we get the big names back involved here? I like what Jimmy's saying. I just don't know about that side of it with the CBA. I would say you tug at their heartstrings. And also, what do they love to do? They love to look good in public. Yeah. Let's put $5 million out there for your charity where you split it with your teammate. So during a 3-minute session, if at $1:33 you're struggling, you're tired, you hit the button, you tap out, the other guy comes in and finishes up your round. That way they're not exhausting themselves. Maybe they're getting 100 swings in if they end up being the champions that night instead of 220 swings, just one dude who can then barely hit the ball out of the infield at the end of the evening. Plus, you have the competition factor, and I would love it if, I said on Baseball Today, you make teammates. So Judge and Soto go. I actually would love it if, had Rafael Devers been healthy, how much fun would it have been to see Rafael Devers and Aaron Judge team up?
Relax, bro.
Like, what? You're telling me you wouldn't watch that for a second?
On.
I wouldn't like that aspect.
See?
But I think you have to have righty and lefties if you do it that way. And then you would have if it's an uneven stadium, it would be really funny for the partner that has the worst side. It would be more elements added. I like the tag team aspect.
Yeah, who wouldn't?
They need to take away the prize money though, because that's why none of the big guys are doing it.
But for charity.
Yeah, but
I don't think that's why they're not doing it.
Yeah, it is.
Why? What do you mean? They don't want to win $1 million? That's said no one ever?
But what's $1 million to Shohei who just signed up for $700?
They're $400 million. They're take money away from Gunnar Henderson who makes $500,000.
That's not what they don't care about that. They want to take his food. They don't care about that. He's not worried about what Gunnar's making. I promise you, it is the myth, and maybe there's some truth to it. I don't know. I don't think. By the way, look
it's
who
a
that
myth,
is.
but maybe not.
Oh my goodness, Peter
Wow,
Moylan,
okay.
everybody.
All
Wait,
right,
when
everyone,
he-
please everyone quiet down.
Wait.
When he walks
When
in,
he
we
comes
gotta-
in,
yeah.
we got to explode. Hold on.
Everyone take it easy. We'll just keep a normal conversation
Here
going.
we go, yeah.
Yeah, the home run derby has
Everyone,
been.
it's got to be a standing applause.
It's one of the
hold on.
best events in sports.
Yeah, it's
We're
crazy.
excited to watch it
Very interesting.
every year.
Comes in
Does
from
it
the
get
wild.
Does it get any better than the Ladies and gentlemen, Peter Moylan.
Yeah.
Not shocked at all to get a standing ovation.
Yeah, really, he took that in stride. He was like, yeah, obviously.
They don't do that on Hosmer's podcast, do
Whoa.
they?
Oh,
No, they don't. What? Hey, I'm just saying. Hold
Chris
on.
Rose.
I'm just saying.
Let me get back to talking as you interrupted me, Peter. He did see me shirtless last night. That is a true statement. No,
Don't
yeah.
clap. Don't
Hey.
clap.
I think
For that.
I think guys are really they don't want to get hurt, and like whether that's true or not.
Well,
They
Judge got
they
hurt
think that,
at the Derby.
and they say, "Oh, it's gonna mess up my swing." And I don't think that's true either. But if you have any sort of thought that that could happen, that's when guys they just use it as a nope, not doing it.
What do you think guys refuse being on the cover of the show?
I bet some have.
Okay, interesting.
Young guys would not. Older guys would. Yes.
Interesting.
It's too many rounds because
Yeah.
that's too many swings. I think if you make it 6 people, 1 round, then the top 3, that's the championship. You'll get more of the big names. They don't want to take 200 swings in 2 hours.
We don't need a 3-hour home run derby.
Well, ESPN likes to sell it that way. That's part of the problem, too. Well, if you want us to take these games on, whatever night it is, they don't have much of a baseball package anymore, but you understand what I'm saying. Well, we want to be able to sell a 3-hour main event.
Well, let's make it 6 hours then. What are you talking about?
Be careful. They
it
might
was,
be listening.
there was like 4.5 hours when
there
it was
was no
10
time
outs.
limit, yeah.
Oh, my goodness. It's crazy. And they're like, we got to fix this. Well, anyway.
Hey, good stuff, guys. Chris Rose, any other All-Star Game changes? Because I know we've talked about this a little bit. You had a viral tweet about it. But, we talk even celebrity softball game, like after the home run derby. It just feels like we're a bit off right
How
now.
many of you, raise your hands, if you were able to watch the Futures game?
Oh, baseball crowd.
I mean, but that's
This is a
that's
strong
like 8
baseball crowd.
That's like 8 people.
Yeah.
I mean, they went against a full slate of afternoon baseball. You're going to watch your team ahead of the Futures. They need to find a slot. I think they should do it the day of the home run derby. They should do it that afternoon. I know it's not ideal, but do it a few hours before and let that be the entertainment that leads into the home run derby that night. That way those kids, some of those guys are going to be competing for your teams down the stretch. Not a ton, but some. We'll see a few more sprinkled in next year after spring training. Like, if they really want to build that, let's see them. They've disappeared since they were drafted a few years ago. Most of us have seen a couple of clips on social media, but haven't seen them in a game setting, and certainly not against the other great kids that are coming into the sport. It's
agree.
just stupid.
I agree with you on that one.
Ridiculous.
Nice.
Yeah.
Thanks, bro.
All right.
And then the uniforms, which is kind of becoming
Yeah.
everyone
Yeah.
agrees.
Listen to that. Yes.
Yeah. Apparently Manfred said he was going to do that.
It sounds like they're talking
The
about it for
players
next year.
keep saying it. Like Harper's
Harper was
was
big
like
on
one
it.
thing they got to change. Like, I want to wear my team's uniform.
Yeah.
Harper
then-
always says the right things. What's up with that guy? What's up with that?
Because he doesn't give a shit.
He could do whatever.
He's
he
got his
wants.
money.
He's got his
so
money
nice.
and talk freely. And
That's why Evan Longoria is always in our comments.
Speaking of players,
and he's bored.
segue. I want to let's get into, we have one of the most exciting parts of the season coming up. We have the trade deadline. I do think it's been, with the new wild card, nobody really knows what's coming. I mean, there's a good chance it's not a very exciting one. What are we, 2 years away from Soto? Like, that was nuts. Like, Soto, home run derby, he turned down $430 million, got traded. San Diego, where is he now? But Chris Rose, I'll start with you. Biggest or most talented player that will be traded at this year's deadline?
I know I've seen a lot of stuff about Scooble the last several hours. Tom Verducci's reporting that both the Dodgers and the Orioles are big after him. That would make sense because I know exactly what I'm getting out of him. Kid's a stud. He'll give you 7 innings and maybe double-digit strikeouts every time. I'm not sure why Detroit would let him go. But if Garrett Crochet is still on the south side of Chicago, God help us all on July 31st. He has got to go. And I don't know what role he's going to play because he's already thrown the most innings that he's ever thrown at a professional level, whether that's minor leagues or in the major leagues. And they might have to curtail him a little bit down the stretch, and that's why I think that he will end up getting traded to the Los Angeles Dodgers because I think that they don't need him right now to throw 6 or 7 innings, and they can figure out they can piggyback with so many of their young pitchers with him.
You say that. They don't have a lot of pitchers left. Dude.
I know, but I think that nobody's going to push them. I really don't think anybody's going to get within like 4 games to the point where they feel like they have to throw him out there every 5 days down the stretch.
I've seen him pitch a couple times live this year, and he is dominant. Like, he has dominant stuff. He can get a little erratic. His location isn't always great, but with his stuff, it just plays. I agree. I think he is going to be somewhere. I think the Orioles are definitely a team that's has all the prospect capital in the world to go get somebody. Mm-hmm. And they're looking for somebody that has years of control. So Crochet, he fits the vibe.
I'm just worried about him getting to Baltimore, who's obviously going against the Yankees to try and win that AL East. And then he blows through so many innings that by the time we get to like mid-September and then October, where you really need him to be great, that he might not be great.
He might be even better. You don't know. Nobody knows. That's the thing.
Nobody knows.
Nobody.
Trevor hit you with a nobody knows. There's no counter. Nobody knows.
Yeah.
I just won that argument.
It's a real good debate strategy.
Well, Trev, let's win the click. Who do you got, Trevor Goof?
I like Crochet. He's probably
Don't compliment him.
No, I think he will end up being the most talented. I mean,
That was pity.
nice.
That was pity.
Are those notes?
no, this is I don't know. These are trivia questions.
That's my trivia.
I would like to see. Well, I already talked about the Rangers, and there's some Rangers fans here, so I don't want to dig too deep. But some of their pitching is going to go somewhere, I think.
Okay.
They are
boy.
5 games back in the division. They are 7
You
and a
just
half.
broke that kid's heart.
I'm sorry. Hold on. I'm gonna give an if. I'm gonna give an if scenario. They're 5 games back in the division. They're 7.5 in the wild card, I believe. Yes, in fact, check that. But last time I looked, that's what it was. They open up after the break with the Orioles. I'm saying this because your own GM, Chris Young, said we got to turn it around, or we're going to make some trades, some hard decisions. They have turned it around. They've won some series. They've done really good. If they come out and Baltimore, thanks to the Yankees, got some momentum right before the break, if Baltimore comes out and sweeps them or wins 2 out of 3, I think you got to look at the season. I mean, I know it's only one series, but you're coming up against the deadline, and again, at that point, you'll be 6 games out of the division. You'll be 8.5 out of the wild card. I think you got to make some interesting choices. Now, they're over the first luxury or the competitive balance tax threshold. So selling off some salary would behoove them. A guy like Nathan Eovaldi, maybe he's not the most talented guy in the world, but sure, he's got a track record in the playoffs. So I'm going to go with one of the pitchers, and Max Scherzer, because he said he's not going to waive his no trade clause. I'll go Nathan Eovaldi.
Okay. James?
Let's trade Pete. I'm ready for Mets fans to feel the damage of the next couple
Pete
weeks.
Alonso?
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Wow.
Cohen's a businessman. He doesn't think in sports fandom terms. He said that last year.
You're
He
selling
did-
at
he-
the lowest of Pete, though.
That's not the lowest.
It's
His
not the
numbers
lowest.
are fine.
He's got.
Well, the question was big names.
The home run derby incident last night.
Oh,
That-
I didn't
that
think
was
about
his
that.
pitcher.
That was his pitcher. That's
This
not
pitcher.
on Pete, guys.
Throw some BP before. Show up.
Tough.
It's Dave Joss. He's like 90.
It's Dave Jones.
Exactly. Tap out if you can't do it.
Oh, man.
Not life. Not life. The
Oh,
derby.
my God. You're
The
killing
derby.
people.
The derby.
I don't think anyone thought life.
The question was biggest name to be
Tap
traded.
out.
Hey.
And I think Pete's the biggest name that actually might get traded because the Mets built this season to trade. They did not build this season to contend.
But now they're here.
But
then
they're
Mark
not really
Vientos
here.
came.
They're in the perfect position to get trapped by the new wild card, and we've seen teams do this. There should be the waiver wire. They should bring that back. so that you can go for it for
The waiver trade deadline.
The waiver
where you
trade
could trade in
deadline,
August.
so you can trade in August. That needs to come back.
I agree.
If this is the way we're going to do the wild card.
Yep.
So then you get 2 weeks, and then you go put them on waivers, and someone can claim them. You can make the trade then.
But how is it? You've lived on the East Coast for a good portion of your life. I know you're a Yankee fan. How in the world will the city of New York react to a team when you just saw last year that the Diamondbacks made it to the World Series?
The Mets can't sell out when they're the best team in baseball.
Oh, wow.
Oh, gosh.
Oh, boy. So you don't think that they're going to care if they trade Pete Alonso when they're holding a wild card spot?
They will care. But when they don't trade him and then they are out of it, like my Yankees did
And then he walks?
last year,
Yeah,
it's going to be much worse feeling.
Qualifying offer. That's what they'll say. Our comment section is just toast right now.
But I just hate the expanded wild card and this situation of false hope. They're not going to win the World Series.
Except we didn't think that necessarily about – I mean, the Diamondbacks made it all the way.
But they didn't win the World
Or
Series.
Texas, to be fair. Texas
They went out
But
and
Texas did not
spent.
think that. I'm
Sure.
sorry.
Everyone's talking about the
The Mets
Diamondbacks.
still have a giant
Texas
payroll.
went out and spent. Yeah, they have the
Mets
Giants.
have a giant
Yeah,
payroll.
and they're putting their money into it. It's like
Yeah.
84% of their revenue they made last year is in their payroll this year, which is great. But they built like this team to get traded, and they have so many.
Yeah.
They have too many of them worked out. They got all these one-year deals so they could get some value and play the game. But now they're all of them had good years.
Do you think that Steve Cohen will be patient enough to do that? I mean, remember, he is the guy that the day he bought the team, he said, if I haven't helped this team win a world championship in 5 years, something has gone terribly wrong.
Dude,
He bragged
that
about.
back.
He did
walked
walk
that
it back
big time.
But you don't think that that's in the back of his brain a little bit?
I think a businessman like him is more likely to grab and run than double down and lose. It's exactly what he said when he traded Scherzer and
Last year was an easy decision, though. This year's tougher, I do think.
they're legit in a wild card spot right now.
Right.
So,
With not great
yeah, they
teams
lose one
outside of
series.
Philadelphia.
They lose this first series and they're out of it.
Jake,
Again, the Fromo's biggest name that I think actually might be traded.
It's good.
It was good.
It was good. It's
both bigger
definitely
than both
the
your
biggest
names.
name.
Biggest name.
Biggest name.
Thoughts and prayers to Dave Joust still.
Yeah.
what's up with that guy?
He's real old.
I'm going to go Luis Robert. Every time I say it, I feel like a bad guy. He's come out and said it both ways, but he hit 38 homers last year from center field. The White Sox, you got to be selling. And I think the pitchers, I don't think anyone knows what to do. Like, you guys just talked about Crochet, and wherever he gets traded, Trev, you're not going to like this, but I think they're going to kick him to the bullpen. He's never thrown these kind of innings at all. That if you're looking at him as a 2.5, 3-year investment.
Like, for this year, they're going to kick him to the bullpen?
Yes.
I don't think so.
I think so, too.
It depends where it is. Chris Rose thinks so, too.
I can be swayed either way.
Jimmy's in between.
Why would you think that?
Because it's been
everyone
discussed.
lives in fear.
He's gonna go to the
It
Dodgers.
doesn't mean necessarily they're right, but you don't think there's a possibility the way the baseball people think?
Well, the whole thing about the postseason is taking one of your starters and getting him to go 2-3 innings
That's
out of the
different than
bullpen.
kicking him to the bullpen. If you're talking about
Gotta prepare.
If you're talking about paring your rotation down to 3 starters and basically 3 relievers, that's what you do in the postseason. You have your 6 guys that you rely on to get you all your innings. Can I see him coming into a game piggybacking during a playoff series? Sure, but during the regular season, being you're a 7th inning guy now? No.
No, not that.
The whole crowd.
What are you talking about then?
The whole crowd feels you getting a little defensive.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even. Why am I defensive?
I don't know. He was your pick.
I hate starting pitch. So wait, hold on.
He's not even the answer. I picked Luis Robert.
Yeah. So
Robert.
I'm
Robert.
actually
Rude.
changing my answer.
We're back to Trev, everyone. Give it up. Trevor Plouffe.
Yeah.
What are you changing your answer to?
Okay.
What was your first answer?
My first was Nathan Eovaldi.
Oh,
Because he is a
well,
big,
I
he's
thought
a big
we
name
said
pitcher.
big names.
He is a big name pitcher.
I'm just joking.
Hey,
I was joking. When you said Evaldi, I was like, I'd love him. The Yankees should go get Evaldi.
Yeah, he's great.
If he's on the table,
so
it's a postseason pitcher.
I'm changing my name now to a guy that's been a horrible big leaguer.
Okay.
Hey!
Wow.
Do not say that.
For
That
those
was not nice.
For those that did not hear, someone said Trevor Plouffe after
That's
Trevor
not
said
nice.
horrible
Which is-
big
which-
leaguer.
Trevor
Not
was
nice.
completely average.
I was going to say I was very,
Yeah.
very average
Over the course of the
over my career. I had
you
a few
you
bad years.
You had a few good ones.
Thank you.
Hell yeah.
But
Hey,
What is going on now? Let me speak.
I feel bad.
It's us versus
I
you.
still feel bad for Dave Joust.
Are there any Orioles fans out there?
He can't feel his arm.
Right here. One guy.
Hey!
One. He bought the shirt over at our merch store. What's up?
I think you got some pipes on you. Okay, bro. Relax. I think Jackson Holliday is the biggest name that's going to get traded.
Oh, nice, Trev.
Wow.
Boom, boom, boom.
I like that.
Because I think the Orioles are like, let's go. Like, what are we waiting for? We have a whole upper-level farm system of dudes that we can get rid of. Jackson Holliday came up, didn't have a good – I'm not saying he's going to be the Orioles don't believe in him. Surely they do. Surely I do.
Wow.
But I'm
At the
saying –
deadline? That's crazier than Alonso. You just helped me out.
To go get a Crochet, to go get
Go
a
get,
Luis Roberts.
go get Crochet and Robert.
Exactly.
To trade a prospect of that
That's
ilk.
what I'm saying. Like,
Oh,
I
that's a
think they
good
might
move.
make that and get two guys.
That's a good
Two
move.
big dogs.
By the way-
and he would be, I think, then at that point the biggest name to be traded.
Yeah, I think that's a really interesting call. How many
won me over.
other prospects would have to join him en route to Chicago to get those two guys?
Those two.
No, you do those two. You do Jackson Holiday.
And how many other people?
Maybe one other, depending on who it is. Like, he's
And,
that big of a name and controllable.
The White Sox
It's-
would have to send an 18-year-old kid, too.
Oh, I don't think so. You're giving up Garrett Crochet, who's got a couple of years of control and has been one of the best
right.
pitchers in baseball.
They'd probably need a 40-man return.
Audience poll. You
Oh.
guys
26-man
are
return. Barometer.
you guys are the White Sox. You're Chris Getz.
Oh.
You're
Oh,
Chris
boy.
Getz. Young. Is he handsome?
And everyone text your answer to Trevor Plouffe. 1-818.
Oh, hey.
Force.
All right, you're Chicago, and the Orioles say we'll give you Jackson Holiday, but we want Robert and we want Crochet, and it's a straight up 2-for-1 deal. Raise your hand if you say yes to that deal.
If you're the Chicago White Sox,
For those listening,
y'all are going to be looking for new jobs.
You would need but they would throw in two single-A,
Not
high-A
a lot of people raise their
prospects.
hand, by the way.
Yeah,
No.
if you're listening podcast only, most people walked out after Trevor asked that. It was,
Thank you. Drive safely. Thank you for coming.
I didn't say I would. That's what the offer would be. I'm saying, would you do that? Obviously, a lot of people said no.
Anyways, so my answer is Luis Robert. I don't know. He's got team options for $20 million the next couple years,
Yeah.
and I don't know. Wash the White Sox off you, and you might have a deal.
The injuries, I think, scare people.
38 homers the last couple years, and you can opt out. Like, he's kind of got a dream front office. It's a
Wait, what are his options?
so $20
$20
million a
million.
year with $2 million buyout.
Just
And those
team
are
options?
team options. Yeah.
But I
What's the
think he's-
buyout?
$2 million.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It's low.
So I think someone's going to go in on him, and it's probably the Orioles, like we're talking about. It's going to be one of the greedy teams everyone's jealous
The
about.
Dodgers going to do that?
It's either going to be the Orioles or the Phillies, probably. I'm pointing at Chelsea. Not, that's such a Philadelphia in Texas. Single fist pump in the back. Go Bert. Well, no. Hey, guys, that was great conversation. I want to bring it to the team level a little bit. Again, thank you to SeatGeek. Code AllStar10. Go
Yes.
save yourself money on tickets when you go to something. Kind of a no-brainer. On the team level, and I think this is a fun one because I think you could go either way with it. A team that you're most excited for their second half. And I guess we'll go in order again. Chris Rose.
Trevor, I think that you spoke pretty highly of them recently on Talkin Baseball. At the beginning of the year, I believed in the Cincinnati Reds, and I think they're close to turning the corner. I really want to believe in them. I didn't want to get off their train. Matt McClain, who was so good for them last year in the infield, is starting to work his way back, and if he can join them by early August, as long as they haven't totally lost their way in the next few weeks, I do think that they've got a shot. I don't think they're going to add a ton. I really don't think so. I think they've been very disappointed for the most part in their offense this year. I think if you had asked Reds fans at the beginning of the year and said, this is the way your starting pitching is going to roll out, you'd be like, man, we're competing for the division crown right now. It hasn't happened, so I'm still firmly believing in the Reds. I think McClain's going to make a difference, and it wouldn't shock me if they actually make a couple of trades in sending guys out in order to open up playing time for young people. That's me.
I like that. That's the Paul Revere situation. The British are coming. The Reds are coming. I think that they are, and I think they actually might trade Jonathan India and like you said, to open up playing time. And I'll go next.
Okay. Hell yeah.
Because I know you were looking at some stuff, right? Some statistics. I wouldn't mind Jonathan India coming over to and this is going to hurt some of my fans, my Royals.
Okay.
Oh.
Okay, now hear me out. Peter Moylan's back there. He pitched for the Royals, guys. I don't know if you guys know that. Anyways, the offense I feel like is like one bat away. Like they have some dynamic players there, some clutch players there. We'll see. Didn't they draft the guy out of Florida? Like, is there any chance he like comes up and makes an impact?
Jack Tani?
Just look out, dude. Garrett Crochet did.
Yeah, well, he might be throwing 99 out of the bullpen if that's what you're looking
Just saying. Okay, listen. Royals to me, one impact bat away. I don't even think it has to be crazy. I think Jonathan India could be that. Second base, third base. Think about Jonathan India and Bobby Witt Jr. on the left side of the infield, Jake.
Hot.
That gets you going a little bit. The starting pitching has been fantastic there.
Yeah,
right?
need a little bullpen
So
help.
the bullpen is where you need to make upgrades. Now, that's not that difficult. There's a lot of relievers that are going to be available. They already added Hunter Harvey, so they're already trying to make moves. If they make a big bullpen move, bring a guy in like Jonathan India, I think the Royals, they're already in a pretty good position, maybe 1.5 games out in the wild card race right now. I think they could be a prime team, and maybe it's a little recency bias because I saw Bobby Witt just go off last night, but he's clearly a superstar. Like, he's clearly a guy. I think everyone roots for him too. He's one of those dudes. Even if he's not on your team, you root for him. I think he could carry that team into the playoffs if they just put a little bit more around him.
Jimmy, they took the Reds and Royals for clicks.
Yeah.
Where are you going to go with it?
I hate the answers I've stumbled into here.
Okay.
Because it's teams that I don't want to win. But I can't escape the joy I have in what's the German word?
Schruden.
Yeah. And like the Mariners have to be so scared right now.
Yeah.
Just so scared. I don't want the Astros to run away. I want the Mariners to win the division. But I'm just excited to see that cat and mouse play out. They open up with 3.
Yeah.
And what's the difference in the division? 1.5.
Yeah. 1 or 1.5?
And like Mariners fans got to be nervous that they lose the lead and never get it back 3 days after the break.
Yeah.
Because the Astros are coming. And I don't want them to, I'd much rather the Mariners win.
Yeah.
Then the other team is the Red Sox and the Yankees. The Red Sox are playing really fun ball.
Yes.
And they're like on a little bit of a heater.
So did you sneaky just go Houston and Boston?
I've been searching upstairs and here to find a different thing.
Yeah.
And I'm like, wait, what do I think is the most exciting right next moments where there's pain on the other side and joy on one? And those are the 2 examples of they're playing good. They're got some fun mojo and energy. Oh, he hates
That's okay. That's fine.
okay.
Nobody
It's
say,
okay.
"Oh, don't worry." No one heard that.
All right.
That's
It's
my
okay.
fault.
I think it was the Orioles, guys.
Oh my goodness! And they heard the Red Sox were coming.
Flexed his biceps. And all of a sudden,
No, but the Mariners. That's scary.
Okay.
Definitely scary times for Mariners fans. We'll throw the Rangers are close enough to my guy out there, even though they're not.
Yeah.
They're going to sell off.
I'm sure after you ripped out his heart and then trampled all over it. But don't worry, you're only 5 back. You're fine.
Goodness.
Be
you guys
fine.
won a ring last year. Let's not be greedy.
No, they feel great.
Oh, that's the move.
I like the Red Sox are great. Jake, who do you got?
I'm going with a pivot. Either way,
Pivot.
I think pivot. I think their second half is interesting. Either way it goes, a proud baseball town, the St. Louis Cardinals. The Cardinals have sneaky. They've been in the NL playoff picture for a little bit now. They've been like the second wild card team, and they kind of haven't played great baseball. That Goldschmidt hasn't gone. Arenado's been kind of. I don't know. If you look at the Cardinals rosters, you're like, we need those guys to go, and they haven't. Yet they're sitting in an okay spot. So I think it goes either way. If the Cardinals kick into gear, I think they're 4.5 behind Milwaukee right now, which for the 2 first halves those teams had is insane. That if a couple more things click or if they get aggressive at the deadline, which they were so dead last year, I expect them to get aggressive at the deadline. If things actually start to click in St. Louis, you're going to see that city kind of kick into gear. It's a baseball town. On the other side, if things fall out, the bottom's going to fall out quick. Because like we talked about with that NL wildcard picture, a bad week and you could be out of the playoffs and you could be under 500 and you could be having a bad time. That we're a month or 2 removed from Ali Marmol being on the hot seat. What are the Cardinals doing as a franchise? Where are they at? That they've kind of coasted into a really good spot. That could end up being fun and they could be super competitive, or if it falls out, I think it could get ugly in St. Louis quick. So I'm interested to see where that team lands.
It all turned around when William Contreras went on the IL because he stuck his hand into the
was
batter's
crazy
box.
because he was the only guy doing anything offensively
And
at
then
the
they
time.
started going. They've been one of the better teams in the National League since then. They're in a playoff spot. I believe
Did the pitching?
wild
Did the
card.
pitching improve after that?
No, it wasn't the pitching. They've had two guys that have kind of helped their season. Mason Wynn,
Mason Wynn's been
who
incredible.
could have been here as a backup shortstop in the
good.
All-Star game. Alec Burleson has been incredible for them. Like, he's a dude where you're like, he looks like
Especially as of late.
he looks kind of like he's a combination between the frat guy and just one of your dudes who you partied with in college, and you're like, give me another beer. Like,
That's the same guy. It's a combination of the same guy.
I think there's a difference.
Okay.
I was one of those.
What were you? Miami of Ohio?
Oh, yeah.
Class of 42?
Jake got thrown out a window once.
Yes, I partied there with Dave Joust. Let's hear it for old guys.
Dave Joust.
He was
See how
awesome.
bandaged up he is.
He was awesome.
I threw a guy out a window.
Oh yes, that's true.
You did?
There was a porch, and I got beat up. All right, last question, and then we're
down.
going to bring up a few of our other creators on stage. We're gonna do Q&A, like I said. Anything you guys want to do? Chop it up, yuck some ball, baseball style. You want to do Jomboy Media? We're open to whatever. Don't be shy. Last question, and Chris Rose. I'm going to skip you because I'm going to try to feed Jim a little bit.
Nice.
Because it was going to be contending team that should sell to take advantage of the seller's market. Like we've been saying, there's a chance this deadline stinks because the whole NL is involved. The AL wild card has become a race. For a while, it didn't look like it. That Jim, I was going to half feed you the Mets because again, that's a team. They're currently in the playoffs technically, which that feels
he
rude.
went in on him.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, I guess a contending
I've been
team.
saying this all year, though. I
Right.
said I think in their team profile and projection, I say it'd be really fun if the Mets are in the bubble because they're built this team to sell. They have how many guys do they have that are walking? A ton. Like
Sevy, Quintana.
yes.
No, Quintana's.
No, he's walking.
He is?
Yep. Quintana, Sevy, Bader,
Alonso.
Alonso,
Jose Iglesias is a pillar of the organization.
Ottavino.
Oh my God.
I don't know who else. Hauser,
Yeah.
Puke King.
Would Mets be your answer, or would you want to audible somewhere else?
No, Mets would be my answer because I think the deadline is very hard to sell guys with 2 years when there's so many people trying, and every team wants guys with 2 years. Like before they expanded the playoffs, teams that weren't even contending were stealing. Remember, like the Bauer trade to the Reds, and there was another trade of the same.
Stroman got traded to the Mets when he had a year and a half.
And the Mets and the Reds at that point weren't even contending, so they were just like, this was their free agent window. Instead of spending money, we'll trade you prospect capital for the two. Everyone wants those, but now they don't get them because teams would just rather take that. They're like 1 or 2 a year, but they'd rather take that. So if you're a rental, you kind of get traded, and they have the most rentals.
They planned on trading before the season.
They built the system to trade, and now they're just a little too good.
Chris Rose?
Cubs are only 3.5 out of the wild card. I don't think we know what to make of them. Once again, they got pretty good starting pitching throughout the first half of the year, and their offense stunk for the longest time. Had a great series in Baltimore where they swept the O's recently, but I just don't feel like if you were really to rank National League teams, where are the Cubs? At best, they're like 8th, 9th at best. So I think that they can get rid of some guys in a seller's market. They have got a ton of prospects that are in the top 100 that are right there. And you know what? I wouldn't mind seeing a few of them. Like they are, some teams' prospects we'll see in 2026 or whatever, or late 25. Like there are players that are ready to play right now. Let's see what you got and figure it out. Hit a little bit of a reset button, not a total reset, but enough to go fill a few gaps.
I am going NL West vibes here, and I think all these teams are so close. The Giants are the furthest away from the wild card. The Diamondbacks are 1 game out. I believe the Padres are currently in it.
I think that crappy finish
Yeah,
cost
they're
them.
No, I don't
up.
think they're.
The Mets got them.
The Mets are in
Okay.
it right now.
Anyways, I'm going to go. I had a conversation with some Braves fans earlier today. We said, hey, Eddie Rosario's already back. What happened the last time AA brought Eddie in He brought Jock in. He brought Soler in. What if he just says, let's run it back. If it ain't broke, don't break it. And he goes and gets Jock Peterson from the Diamondbacks and Jorge Soler from the Giants and just runs it back.
Double NL West, huh?
Wow.
That was what I was going to say, but I'm not giving that as my answer.
Soler got
just to
paid,
clarify, you just took two teams almost off the table as a pick, and you're taking a third team.
I don't think the Giants are going to do that. I think that we could see the Diamondbacks test the market or at least see what's out there for Christian Walker. Do you know how much that guy could bring back right now as he's a true rental because he's a free agent at the end of the year. He's going off. A lot of teams need just an offensive bat so you could put him at DH if you needed to. But a lot of teams are also short at first base. Your Yankees are short at first base.
Houston.
Ben
Houston
Rice.
is Ben Rice. Okay.
Ben Rice.
Houston
he's
is
a
short at
hero.
first base. You can put him in
Pete
Seattle.
Alonso.
There's a lot of places where you could go. That I don't think Pete Alonso is going to get traded as much as you are fantasizing about.
He's going to
that
go to the
in your
Astros
mind.
and be a heel.
I think Christian Walker, they could at least explore. This is how you like to explore a lot, you know what I'm saying, with bodies.
A lot of late
they
nights.
Can explore
A lot of late nights.
the trade market for a Christian Walker. So I'm going to go with the Diamondbacks. They're sneaky, like, I know they added during the offseason. I get that. They just made it to the World Series, so the fan base is rabid. But I think if they're thinking about it objectively and smart, they at least entertain the market for Christian Walker.
It's a good answer, I guess. I will finish, and I guess I won't make some friends on the way out.
Wow.
You mentioned them a few times. Texas Rangers. You've got a little bit of house money. Like, you won the World Series. Yankees have not been. Yeah, hell yeah. Let's break some.
You won't.
My New York Yankees have not been to the World Series since 2009. So the Texas Rangers, you have a World Series. Don't clap. They're way too happy about that. The good people of Milwaukee, we appreciate you. I don't know, like, you won it all last year. Your core is locked up. Like, you signed guys to decade-long deals, and that's awesome. Hey, this year hasn't felt like it. I think if we're just being straight up. I know you've got some reinforcements on the way, and you can start daydreaming, and man, you talk about a couple weeks coming out of the deadline are huge for them. If they come out and they go 7-2, Texas is back in it, and like, watch out. Nobody wants to see them. If they come out and they're 3-6, it's over. So, from what they've shown, if you could trade in on their whole pitching staff is like eligible to be traded.
Yes.
I know that kind of feels wrong. There's one or two guys in the lineup, but if there's ever a time as a front office, like, you got a World Series in Texas, like, you've got a couple years of insurance. I know it moves quickly, but especially in a seller's market, if you can cash in a couple of those tickets, you can be back next year. Like, this year's just been clunky. But I don't know. It's not what you want to hear, and you always have that feeling of like, let's run it back, let's go if we get hot right now. But if you don't, and then, I don't know, are you having Max Scherzer pitch in August and you're 10 games out? Like, that's going to be a little sad. So I don't know. I realize that's not the fan vote in here tonight, but that's what I would like to see. So the other things I would like to see, we're going to have our rest of our crew come up. I think Shelfie, Joe's, Jack Doyle. Is there anyone else joining us? For now, I think we're going to wrap this up as the episode. Thank you, guys.
Awesome.
I mean, that was real baseball talk.
Jake sucks. Jake sucks.
Like, I love when
All my friends hate Jake.
we got, okay. Like, we got a lot of real baseball fans here. I've seen some of the people, thank you again to Community Brewing. A couple of community people have been like, what are they, Jonathan India? Get him out of here. So thank you guys again. Hey now.